Now it's two.
All right, call the Bryan County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Start the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions to the agenda or changes?
The only addition that I had was the commitment letter for the bid and the CCMG submittal for Bridge 20 from the Highway Department.
Okay. Cover that under the Highway Department.
Which bridge is 20?
Is Hoover and Sweetwater Trail. It's the one that needs the
Up by Gatesville?
up by Gatesville.
I'll put that under the Highway Department.
Yeah, that's
Cover
fine.
can get there. Okay, so the minutes we don't have. Approval of claims.
I've looked at them. I initialed them when I looked at them yesterday. I noticed there's about, what is it? 200,000+ gone out of the Go Bond money that we bought some stuff with, paid for some stuff, paid Barnes and Thornburg. Paid, Barnes and Thornburg should have been out.
Well, the services part of that bond.
Right. And that's all got paid. At some point, I just like to get down and see exactly what that money was for. But other than that, I don't have a problem with claims. I'll make a motion to approve them.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Okay, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Before we start, I'd like to introduce Eric, who's our IT director. We've had some challenges on audio. I don't think this room was designed to be a recording studio. So we've addressed different options, different problems. So Eric, can you give us an update on that one?
Yeah, hi, everyone. So I approached this problem having been the technology officer in Monroe County, but also as a lifelong professional musician. So I've had lots of experience in trying to mic rooms like this that are not necessarily intended for a live streaming environment. When I came in, there was a set of microphones that were set up that were not in an optimal way to have it organized. So in the first month that I was here, I came up with a different plan to approach it. We're about midway through implementing that plan. We've got a number of different microphones that will improve not only the sound here in the room, but the sound as it broadcasts to people on the internet. And so I think we've made some good progress already, and then over the next month, we'll be implementing the other. So if you have any questions or concerns moving forward, again, my name's Eric Evans. I'm available via email here at Brown County.
Thank you. Take care. All right, new business. We've got, first on the agenda, we have 3 first readings of ordinances. We got the hot spa tub ordinance, food fees, and the health department bed bug ordinance. So Dr. Conway, you want to introduce the hot spot tub ordinance or comment on that? You can come to
Check to see if it's on. I'm not sure if it is.
So the first ordinance is, what order do you want to move?
we've got the first one's on
The hot spa.
hot spa.
Trying to get in line with overall state guidance on monitoring and testing mainly hot tubs. And there's that's an increasing number on vacation rentals, the percentage of places that have them. So they actually do fall under the state guidelines for regulation. And so this is an attempt to get in line with IDOH guidelines on that. And then the fee schedule is attached, is an attached issue for that.
I just want to reiterate that this particular ordinance we've had since the 4th of September, and there's been some, of course, public notification requirements that had to be met. And then subsequent to that, the bed bug ordinance came up. So they've been available since the 4th.
And
Right.
I believe this is the one that we're not expecting to be enacted until everybody has been informed about it. Is
Okay.
that right?
Yeah.
I think we have kind of a tacit agreement that that's for the first of the year.
I don't follow that one. This is like the first reading tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
Second reading is our next meeting. You want to postpone our second reading? Okay, so we're on schedule for the first and second reading.
So what this is that, in order to make sure that everyone in the community and throughout, because some, especially on pools and spas, these people own these properties, lots of them don't live here. So we need to be able to have time to send them all letters. We're going to actually do a training for them to come in and learn how to make this happen in their world. And then it starts on January 1st. Okay, so the official start date for all of this will be in January. We're gonna do the training in December, 1st of December.
Thanks.
But your vote will go in as normal, as you schedule it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Well, let me read this into the minutes. It's the public and semi-public swimming pool and spa health ordinance number 2025-10-01-000. Any comments from the audience? Yes, we're gonna, by the way, we're making this available. We have copies on the table, and then once we sign off tonight, we'll put them on the website as well. So public comments? Sure. Step to the podium, your name, please.
Sorry, Terry Mitchell. Did you define what semi-public means?
She said, can you define what semi-public means?
Is it in the ordinance? I don't need you to define it yourself. I need to know if it's in this ordinance, and if it's not, then you should stop right now.
Somebody's pointing at something back there.
No, I need it defined.
On page 300.
Thank you, Dana, or Dina.
Thank you.
I guess I have more of a question that I'd like to ask. What brought this all about to begin with?
And Melissa or.
Dr. Conway, or Melissa, you want to
Yeah.
address that question, please?
Sure.
Step to the podium.
So there has been a pool ordinance in effect since 1997. And in that pool ordinance, there's also that they're supposed to be paying the $60 fee each year, and they're supposed to be testing their pools and all this. Then the state of Indiana came down, just like they did with the septic, and updated how they want this carried out with their new IC codes. So with that, that also brought us the challenge that we had to update our pool ordinance and bring everything up to date. And this is the result of that. And so the testing is still being done as far as for the larger swimming pools like Egmar Lodge, and those are all being done by IDOH. And then this will be done locally by the local health department. Okay?
And follow up, Stephanie?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So are you requiring people that take care of the hot tubs currently to be certified? Like,
We're not trying to do anything stringent.
This is Tiffany.
Name, please, yeah.
I'm Tiffany Batiste, I'm an environmentalist with the health department. We're not trying to do anything more stringent than the state has already got in their code.
Is that mic on?
yes,
Yeah, you just have to be really close to it. Yeah, go right ahead.
My next question would be, the permitting and stuff. So what the charging, is this something that's done normally by every county in Indiana, or is this something that's just Brown County? I feel like I can just ask.
Yeah, maybe next time we ask all the questions. We'll ask them next time all in one and then answer them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So I've actually reached out to several counties in the area and all over the state. So most counties that have enough pools where they have to have, regular testing, yeah, they do permit. Monroe County, Baldwin County, Johnson County, they're all doing it.
And then, okay, I have one more question. So I see it broken down here by pools 1 to 3. Does each property count as one, or does New Dance Vacation Rentals count as one? We have one person that takes care of it.
So that would be each property.
Each property. That's all the questions I have.
Are the fees in line with the other counties that you mentioned? That's exactly what they charge, or it's close,
We're a
or,
lot,
huh?
we're a lot lower.
We are?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Lake County is the only county that is close to having as many vacation rentals as we do in Brown. And they want to charge $1,000 and more, plus. The $1,000 is the threshold they start out with.
Lake County, is that around Chicago or something?
Yeah.
That's all the questions.
Thanks.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, back to, again, the ordinance, public and semi-public swimming pool and spa health ordinance number 2025-10-01-000. Any questions?
I seen back in the back where it did have semi-public spa, hot tub.
Page 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
any,
defined.
is somebody gonna read that, or
No.
where's Blake? Blake was really good at reading
Yeah,
that.
okay, sorry. We're required to read the title of the ordinance and the ordinance number for the record. So, do I have a motion?
So I'd like to, just like if I can, make a motion to table this for now. That'll give us until our next meeting to consider it. That'll give the public 2 weeks to take into consideration any other questions or concerns that they have. I believe what we will hopefully capture is the questions that came forth here and make it available in our meeting minutes. So I'll see if Sandy, Tiffany, you had a question?
Yeah, something.
Sure.
I think the biggest part of this pool ordinance is the state requires monthly testing for semi-public and weekly for public pools. And that's really expensive right now. The lab that a lot of people use, we draw your samples off of the health department. It's about $73 for each sample.
Okay.
We've created an arrangement with Micro Air Lab out of Marion County, I believe. And they're gonna start doing pickup, and they will do testing at $25 per sample.
Kevin,
Sure.
and this, so the audience gets the clarification. Even though we table it, this still would be considered the first reading.
That's correct. Because it's been read as far as the title and the ordinance number into the record.
Kevin made a motion. That was a second.
I'll go ahead and second table.
Okay, roll call.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, second one, Exhibit A to the Brown County Health Department fee ordinance number 2025-10-01-001. It's an update on the fee schedules. Melissa, do you want to comment on the fees and your work on that one?
okay, so you had the food ordinance that was brought to you with Jennifer Heller, and you passed that. So those fees are updated here, and then the pool facility fees are be updated. So, in order to do that, then we have, this is just like, a result of everybody turns in their budgets, and then at the end, there's a big summary. So this is the summary of all our fees. This is not fines, these are just fees. And so, that is, as they stand, our board voted to approve, so we're asking you the same. Thank you.
how much are the fines?
The fines, the only ones that there are fines are the ones with the bed bug ordinance, and we can discuss that when we get to bed bug. It's separate and they're in the ordinances. They're not in this part.
So these are, so just to clarify, these are just fees for, in essence, permitting or anything of that nature.
Right. Correct.
Just a question, compared to other counties, how are we doing on these?
I'm also, again, a lot lower than other counties. But there's a whole catch 22 with the fees. If we raise our fees a lot, number one, that hurts the community because then they have to pay more fees. And then it also drops our tax levy. So they kind of even out each other. So it's just best to try to stay as even as we can. And that's what we try to do with the fee. Okay.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any questions from the audience? Any questions up here?
Have an animal.
Okay, again, I'll read it in. It's a Bryan County Health Department fee ordinance number 2025-10-01-001, Exhibit A. Have a motion.
So again, my preference tonight, I think our habit should be is I'd like to table this until for a second reading on the 15th. So that, like I said, it gives the public time to come back and make comments and engage.
You said you made a motion?
Yep.
I'll go ahead and second.
Okay, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, third one. This is the ordinance to create the policy intended to limit bed bug exposure. It's ordinance number 2025-10-01-002.
Yes. Okay. So Doreen, you gonna, okay.
May I?
Sure,
Yes.
yes.
I'm going to give you hard details, but I just want to say that we received a bed bug complaint on a public place in the county. And I was asked to look into it, and it turned out that there is no county ordinance regulating bed bug exposure. And there's no Indiana Department of Health bed bug ordinance. They leave that to each county. And so we investigated it, and virtually every county that has a lot of hotels, motels, and rental has bed bug ordinances by the county. So that's why we're before you today.
Great, thank you.
Question? Question?
Yes. A question.
How bad is this? Is it one or spread out through the motels or, I mean, evidently there's an issue or we wouldn't be here talking about it.
The complaint was with regard to one lodging. But it was the first bed bug complaint since I've been the health officer, so I wanted to know before we responded to it, what the ordinances were governing it. And it turned out, we know none, no ordinance in this county about bed bug regulation.
Okay, so just to be clear, this is not like an epidemic in the motels here.
One complaint, this is a response to one complaint because we were asked to take action, and I wanted to make sure we had the authority to do it before we did it.
It's being a tourist destination. We don't want everybody thinking there's some kind of epidemic here and scaring people off. You had one complaint, and did you investigate that?
Yes.
Yes,
And you found bed bug?
yes. Well, it was done by, did we do this or did the pest control did this?
I think the pest control.
Pest control did this one when,
Because we don't have authority.
that's right.
And it's been, what word am I looking for, Kevin? Redeemed or
Remediate.
remediated? It's been remediated. So there is no immediate bed bug problem,
We
correct?
don't know that it's been remediated because we don't have the authority to inspect for remediation. Because there's no ordinance passed in the health department with that authority. So I was trying to make sure we're within our guardrails.
We don't want to start no panic here. This is the wrong time of year to do that.
No, we have one complaint about one lodging, and this is a response to being asked to do something about it. And then discovering that in this county, we don't have the authority to do it.
Huh.
I think it's really important for us to stay within our guardrails that we're asked to do.
Which wouldn't give us the option to prove that that is not really true or that it is true. We can't do that because we don't have a way to even.
So where's is the bed bug fees?
It's on there. It is in,
the fines
Yeah,
is,
they are on.
Section 5.
So can you step to the mic?
Sure.
By the way, we did the homework and virtually every single county in Indiana that has anywhere close to the number of lodgings that we do has a county bed bug ordinance. So we're here for that reason.
okay, here it is. Within 10 days will result in a fine of $500 per day for a maximum of 5 days.
Right.
No fine shall exceed $2,500.
Right.
The owner operator has been fined for failure to remediate. The lodging establishment shall pay $100 reopening process fee on remediation as completed. I don't even think we had that yesterday, did we, Kevin? The amount?
We had amounts, but I felt they were a bit overzealous.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, I think the last penalty that when I read it was $100 per day per room.
That's right.
And there was no cap.
We met last week and then we met with Mike Moga, which he's been going up and down the AIC conference, so he couldn't finish this until yesterday afternoon. That's why you got it late. But yes, so, the fees are changed. We feel like this is very fair. What this is saying is that we have contacted them in writing. We have gone to their establishment in physical. And that we are telling them that we have a complaint.
Okay.
And that we would just like to be able to confirm or deny the fact that that's even true. And then if they deny us the right to even inspect or even talk to them about it, that's when the 10 days start. Now, let's say they say, yes, you can go ahead and inspect. So we inspect and we find out that there are bed bugs and they're working with us. And they're trying to, cure the problem, then, there's no fines, no fees, there's nothing, there's nothing that's gonna happen to them as long as they're trying to, remediate what they have going on in their establishment. But if they ignore us and shut the door on this and they don't wanna talk to us, and, that's just like someone would go in and discover that there are, and then they would leave and go to another hotel. They're quite little hitchhikers. So, this is what we are trying to prevent anything like that happening. That's why this has come about.
One of the other issue you had on the initial one was just the lack of specificity on timelines, number of days, and they corrected
And
that.
we have 3 days to get back. Once they have done everything they're supposed to do and they're ready to be reopened, if they've gone as far as that, then we have 3 days to respond and get them open. So they won't be sitting there dormant waiting.
Just, let me go back over this.
Okay,
It's not a massive thing here.
it's not a matter.
It's an isolated thing.
It's nice.
One complaint, and you think that's been taken care of.
Yes. You know that they're working on it. I have been told. So, but we have no verification because we can't verify that on our own.
Is if somebody was to call to Brown County about reservations, is that something public information or is that confidential information on where it was at?
Well, the one thing that they could do is they could advertise that, they could advertise even like on the pool and this, that they've been inspected and they're clean.
Clear, we have a clear inspection.
That's right.
Cause I don't want to see any of the motels or tourist homes or anything lose money because of one complaint that we believe has possibly already been taken care of. So,
There's been, yeah, correct.
Any other questions?
I think we're good at the moment. Are you gonna go ahead and ask to table this, Kevin?
Well, we'll ask for public if they have any
See what the
comments.
public has to say. They want to.
Step on up, public.
Can you raise that mic up?
Yes.
You're taller than the mic. The podium.
Okay, I have a question on last page. And when it talks about, all food blanket proposals, the very first section, the very top. It says that all mattresses in the room with contamination shall be disposed of. That, okay, so for us, we have protective covers that we put on all the mattresses and they're called feet. And that virtually will prevent them from putting in to having to dispose of all this. This would cost someone a lot of money if they had to throw away all of this. I would suggest, if anything, maybe it needs to have at least an encasement, which would prevent it from having to be thrown away. So I don't know if that's possible, or you guys could state that, or how do you feel about that? But that would be, like I said, very, very costly, just throw away mattresses. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you have to throw a bed in the Box Springs and, yeah, so like, where does it end? But
If the place, I don't think we have this mass infestation. But if you actually had that, then I would suggest you almost tear the walls off and clear it out or whatever, because they're pretty bad. I don't, if you actually have an infestation.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the level of testing is to determine. I understand what you're saying. You're saying that your mattress is going to be encapsulated. You got anything, Melissa?
Jen, I think is on. Jen Heller on there.
Yes.
Okay, Jen is our environmentalist that deals with this part, and so can we have her speak, please?
Yes.
Jen, do you hear that question? Can you answer it?
Is she muted?
Yeah, I understand that talking about the encasement. I would really have to check with the state entomologist as to whether that would be adequate for prevention of, the bed bugs continuing in that room. A lot of hotels do go with the encasements, but I personally do not know the answer to that question.
all your pest companies on, they're done with the treatment. They will recommend you put them on after this part of the treatment, they put them on. So,
I don't know about the motel rooms, but I would think the tourist homes, you could be looking at $1,000-$1,200 a mattress, somewhere in that, maybe even more, maybe
$2,000.
$2,000.
So that's why I was curious if we could look at that wording and possibly see if that would prevent you from having to throw away a mattress. So, and then that was really the only thing. You guys already answered my question about it being one particular incident, because I was like, so is there big complaints? But they didn't give it.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Are already in.
They're in encasements, so you have Box Springs. Well, so it is completely encased, and, that you have to buy the ones that are for the new so you'll see it on. But we have it all doubled up, so in case, but we're not trying. If anything, we could probably do those items and not that. It is a item.
Well, now,
Thank you.
We're clear.
Campbell, lodging property owner, so be 2 years today. And in that course of time, yes, we have had less than a handful of experiences with that. I'd say 3, 4 maximum. And we have never had to throw away a mattress once the room was effectively treated. So I think this last line under item G should just be stricken. When remediation is properly performed, the heat in the room will take care of bed bugs anywhere in the room. It's just like basically washing the entire room, which is what you would do with sheets and blankets in high temperature heat. So that type of treatment will mitigate it. We've never had a reoccurrence after we've had proper remediation. So asking properties to dispose of that type of investment, and for us, it is about $2,000 per set. So I think that's excessive. Thank you.
I've got a question for the health department. Let me reread this section G here, paragraph G. It says all sheets, blankets, pillows, coverlets, and pillowcases located in the same room The rooms on either side, above and below the contamination rooms, shall immediately be either disposed of or washed and dried in temperature sufficient to destroy bedbugs. That I think I get, but then all mattresses in rooms with contamination shall be disposed of. I guess I'm curious on what the requirement for that is, to understand why that would be in there, why that's needed. I mean, is that something we need to have in here?
I honestly, we copied this paragraph from the regulation, from the ordinance of a county that has a bunch of motels, hotels, and residences. So and I talked to their, one of their vector control people at their county health department, and he said, no offense at all, he said he's seen times when they remediated in the winter and they got bed bugs that got in a crack in the window where it was cold and evaded the heat treatment. This is a guy who does it for a living. So we'll certainly check with several experts on this and get their opinions about that paragraph. But we took that pretty much directly from a big county's ordinance.
Okay, well, it's really the last sentence, I guess, is of
Yeah,
concern.
I got you clear. We'll double check with different people. I talked myself to the vector guy in this county, and he said we use this ordinance all the time. So but I'm not a mattress expert, so we'll find it out.
I'd be curious on how many mattresses they disposed of or required
The
to be
big
disposed of.
county that I talked to.
Really, quite a bit?
Oh, their bug and vector and nuisance ordinance is a 1/4 inch thick.
Oh, wow, okay.
This is just a tiny part of what their ordinance is.
Sir, is there something that they can do, like preventive maintenance? I mean, when they wash their sheets and stuff, is there something?
Bed bugs they're highly resistant. They develop a lot of resistance to insecticides. That's why the heat treatment is used. I'm not the world's expert on bed bugs, but they're highly resistant to insecticides. A lot of preventatives of other things that are used don't work on them now. That's why heat is so popular, because at 160 degrees, it breaks down living proteins, so they can't survive.
What about policy, like preventive? I mean, I'm back on that, but I mean, I remember standing in a motel one time and I took the sheet and I literally initialed the sheet to see if it got changed. And the whole stay there, it was the same sheet. And they actually laughed at me when I told them I wanted it changed. So if that was happening to somebody staying in the room, not that I think anybody here would do it, but if the sheets aren't getting changed, I would think that the odds of having an issue would rise substantially.
Yeah, you want the sheets in a hot dryer, you want sheets that are resistant to that kind of temperature.
Daily, even if it's the same person in the room, or is there anything there? I can't hear you.
I think it's normal for them to be changed at the ends of stays or in stays at request. The lodging people would know more than I do about that. I know that great facilities get bed bugs brought to them, like Melissa said. They left a place at 10 p.m. because it had bed bugs. Something got out in their suitcase and came to a really clean, compulsive place that doesn't want it there and doesn't want their reputation to hurt. So a lot of times, good organizations, it's just unlocked. And if you talk to owners, which I have, they'll say, it doesn't matter how good we are, it's going to happen to us eventually.
I was just trying to look at everything.
My impression is the incidence is really low in this county, which is a real compliment.
Well, good.
Yeah, we did not seek this authority out. It comes as a result of a complaint that came to us. I said, do we have the authority to act on this complaint? And we do not.
All right, thank you. Any other questions in the audience?
Christina Sites, I work and live in this county. I just wanted to give a little input, because I work in mental health services and I started out working in that field in Indianapolis on an assertive community treatment team. So with that said, I worked with a lot of people. Some of them were transients. Some of them were homeless. Some of them lived in what we would categorize as slums. But what I have found, and I have never in this county, I want to make that clear, but in Indianapolis, I have sat across from a person who actually stood that had bed bugs crawling on their person. And these were generally people in low income neighborhoods. I wanted to just take the opportunity to comment on this because I work in mental health services. And when I get the opportunity to say that in this county, we still have a great need for affordable housing. What ends up usually happening and how bed bugs get carried into a hotel, motel, is generally somebody in a transient position that's staying somewhere. They can literally crawl into your purse, into your suitcase at the airport, if the person sitting next to you may have a bed bug on them. So you would be surprised how easily you could carry one. I only know this because there were certain measures that we would try to take. Some people I worked with believed putting fabric softener sheets in your shoes may prevent it. Putting bug spray, but like he said, they're very resilient. Bed bugs are. The treatment for it is extremely expensive. So I'm concerned because I know I had a client years ago that was living in an apartment complex in Indianapolis, that Purdue was actually going to come and work on helping them eradicate it because it had gotten so bad. If you have bed bugs and you're in an apartment, it's not necessarily means that you're dirty. It could be the person next to you, person 2 doors down from you, because they are resilient and like he said, they love to get into cracks. But there are some states and local jurisdictions that come up with funds to help people get rid of those because not everyone in this county would be able to afford that. And some of our small business owners, especially, as soon as the end of November is here, they're not gonna have any income coming in, I mean, barely. So, I hate to see places that have been operating for years and years, to struggle with trying to stay open. So it would be nice if we had a plan or maybe some educational stuff from the health department on preventative measures. I think that, I have seen those covers for mattresses and they are a nice feature to have just for prevention, but they're horrible pests. And if you've ever seen someone that's been bitten by them, they usually bite and they're really free. It's kind of weird that they do that. But very itchy, very painful and quite a nuisance to people. But that's it. I would just like to see more education, preventive measures here. Because we want people to enjoy coming here, not have a fear of bed bugs, but I think prevention is definitely worth that.
You might have just hit the nail on the head because there's probably a motel or two here around that if we have somebody that is transient, that say a trustee or a church or somebody was to help and put them in a motel, that could have been maybe part of the problem.
Well, I don't comment on that to deter us from helping folks. that
I
are in
get you, I
need.
get it.
I will say from my experience, I will sing the praises of our trustees in this county. I have worked with families that are about to have their electricity shut off and I have contacted their trustee and they have hustled and reached out to local churches that have prevented that from happening. We have great trustees in this county. They have come through for people that I work with on numerous occasions. But again, I'll always take the opportunity to say, I would love to see more of affordable housing. I mean, the fact of the matter is somebody has to pay the bills and pay rent or whatever the case may be, and they're not earning a lot of money. working at McDonald's or housekeeping at this facility or the front desk at this location. I mean, these are people that are either living with someone else or in between places or traveling from out of the county because we just don't have enough affordable housing in this county.
The reason I mentioned that was because I'd been a trustee and I'd helped a bunch of people. And you're right on again about churches helping. Because of the money that the trustees get, we'd reach out and send them to some churches and stuff. I've seen electric bills of $2,000 before.
Well, I mean, I think education is everything. I engage with people all the time that just aren't aware that there are resources out there. So that's part of my role as a care coordinator is, you know, I do a lot of assessments with people. I'm asking them, you know, in the past 12 months, have you worried about when you can buy food again? You know, do you have stable housing? Is anyone in the home threatening harm to you? I mean, you would be surprised at the number of people that don't realize there's help out there for them. So I think it's important. It's important for all of us in the community, even if we've never been touched by poverty, to recognize that, you know, these people in the service industry, especially in this county, you know, we need to take care of those people and respect those people and understand that they have needs too. Not just filling the open role we have, you know, October and November, you know, so, and that comes from me working at a lot of different restaurants, in this town through high school, and I worked at several different restaurants, and that's because I was a seasonal employee in high school, you know, and so I would have a different job the next season depending on who was hiring me, so we have a lot of that, and people are just trying to make ends meet, so.
Thank you.
If you allow me for a comment, this is based off of, was it Christina? Yes, what Christina just mentioned. This is targeting, overnight accommodations. And Christina just brought up a point about what about apartment complexes that could potentially have a bed problem? And will the health department be coming back somewhere down the road if there's a complaint regarding apartments wanting a revision to this ordinance? And if that could be in the foreseeable future, maybe this would be the opportunity to address that so that the health department can stay in front of it and not just be reacting to a problem.
Actually, the answer to that question is that we really would like to do an actual ordinance that just talks about all the different organizations and the items that can happen. It's a sanitation ordinance, which is what Dr. Conway was talking about, that we had received from another county that was like 4-inch thick. We wouldn't need it that big in Brown County, but that is what we are visiting. But for right now, this is what's been brought before us. And then in order to be able to address it and to take care of it in a short notice, we just wanted to get this into place. The other will come later when we've had time to sit down with our attorney and our legal and figure out how much of all of this even comes into play for us here in Brown County. We'd probably like to have a little committee get together kind of thing for the community so we can then finish it up and bring it back to you. But that'll probably be around the first of the year before we do that.
Any other questions?
I wanted to. I just wanted to say, I haven't had contact with, all of the available rental apartments in this county. I can't say that, but, and I won't name the one that I do know about, but I can tell you that in their lease, they do have a bed bug, entry in there on exactly what, renters are to do if they encounter them. So, you know, they don't want a homeowner trying to, you know, a rental homeowner trying to do it on their own. They want to be involved to make sure it doesn't spread from one apartment to the other and what I have witnessed. I just don't want this to turn into something, you know, because I have been at meetings before where we're talking about Habitat for Humanity and people are here and they don't want all those poor people living in the lot next to them and their poor houses. And I don't want that to be the case, you know, usually it's just circumstantial. Everybody falls on hard times at some point in their life. And I just want us to be a community that wants to help one another. Especially, folks that are low income. You know, all you have to do is look at the numbers of kids on free and reduced lunches at our school. And to know that, you know, there's just a great need. You know, I just want to reiterate that there are departments here that do have like referendums in their leases that give strict instructions on what they're going to do.
Thank
Not
you.
all of them that I know of, maybe they do, that's, you know, I know of a couple.
Any other questions, audience? Can I bring it back up to the board discussion?
You guys have anything?
So I do have a question for Mike. Mike, you there?
Yes.
So from a procedural standpoint, I mean, again, I was going to go and take action and say, could we maybe give the public time to chew on this? It sounds like we've got quite a bit of feedback in this particular meeting. The only thing that I see has been identified is basically, the clause that I was concerned with regards to destruction or removal of mattresses. So what is the process? So is it necessary for the health department to go back and take a look at that and then resubmit this for a first reading? Or is it a table it for a first reading and then have the changes? What's
No,
that process look like?
You can make minor changes, which I'd qualify this as a minor change in between the two readings. Should the commissioners accept it as a minor change?
So I guess.
So
my question
to answer your question more directly, meaning you would not need a second reading, or you would not need to redo a first reading next time, just because you made a minor change.
Well, we identified it as a concern. The health department said they'd look into it and validate that particular sentence, right? The sentence is all mattresses in rooms with contamination shall be disposed of. So you're going to do the additional information, validate that requirement, check with the others, and then bring that back for the next week.
So I just, at this point in time, I'm fine with that being considered a minor modification. I don't know if Mr. Clark or Mr. Sanders is fine with that.
I just soon table it, that we tabled the other ones.
Okay.
And it could be the first reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. It could technically be the first reading and then we could make the changes in the second one. And that way we kind of leave it open, see if anything else comes up, because I do believe that this just come in this morning. It's not enough time to, I don't think, consider it the first reading.
Righty, well, I'll reread the ordinance then into the record. Ordinance to create the policy intended to limit bed bug exposure. Ordinance number 2025-10-01-002. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to table it.
Can I amend your motion?
How about?
I would like to table this motion contingent upon a change addressing the issue with regards to the mattress identified in section, I believe, G. That we don't come back with at least data, or I'd like to see some data or at least confirmation from the health board and health department before the second reading.
So
Table.
Have a motion and an amendment, second, and a motion and amendment to the motion.
I think my motion died.
Yes, it
I didn't
does.
get a second, and then you wanted to make an amendment.
I'm making an amendment.
I'm fine, I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Ron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
All right. On a lighter note, holiday lights. Courthouse. Kevin, you want to brief us on that?
Well, actually, I'd rather have Lisa Hall brief us.
Okay.
She's the main person that's been dealing with the work that's being, trying to be accomplished here.
yes, thank you. And I believe Josh is joining us virtually too. So Josh is our installer. So if you have any questions, we can,
If he's not on the Teams connection, we're not gonna be able to hear him. If he's on the live stream and YouTube, then we're gonna have problems.
okay. I think he may be live streaming. But hopefully we won't need him. He said, yes, he can't speak, he could just listen. This project is in conjunction this year with the 5th annual Chris Kendall Market. And I have been doing some studies about lighting a community, reading and researching about, does it really truly economically boost a community? And
There's a lot of information out there when you're tourism dependent, how much lighting a community can boost economics for restaurateurs, shops, but morale. The market is the one place I noticed in this community where people come together joyfully. And they're very unified over a holiday season. And that's one of the things I love about it. And so I went to our CDC, maybe March, and proposed that we do a lighting project on the rooftops of downtown Nashville in 2 phases. This year, we're gonna do phase 1, going down our main street. And then phase 2 would be going out to all the side streets and gathering the buildings that are off Main. And so the lighting has begun. We've been seeking permission from businesses, getting them to sign an indemnification agreement. So everybody's protected. Josh is my installer. He's a wonderful, young, hungry man. He has a $2 million insurance policy. We are using LED lights. Josh is installing timers. These are scheduled right now to begin November 1 through January. And then they will be turned off, but we're not removing them because that is very laborious to take them down and then have to reinstall them. So the permission I'm seeking today is, can we light the rooftop of our courthouse, our beautiful courthouse?
Please.
Who's moaning? Again, everybody who has ownership is checking their electrical. This is no burden to them other than paying the LED light bill for 3 months, and that's very minimal with LED lights. And so we're working with the church to get some electrical fixed. So we're identifying those problems as Josh is about installing them. And so, as you know, the courthouse is generally lighted with trees and the flowing lights, but we would like permission to do the rooftop and the outline of the courthouse.
Thank you, Lisa. So let me clarify. So I heard you say you're not taking them down.
We are not taking them down. The plan is not to take them down. You know, if that is a requirement for the courthouse, I mean, we can work individually, but they're very hard to even notice when they're up. The way Josh is installing them, he's using clips, and he will be responsible next year for replacing lights, maintaining them. It's all in this 2-year plan agreement. It's just a real gift to the community, to be honest. It's gonna look really magical and beautiful here for 3 months. And I will say, our economics have gone up in December. We have business owners, hotel owners that have said they are having October weekends, that first weekend in December. And so this event, lighting our community, creating a festival environment, has done exactly what I hoped it would do.
So I had a conversation with Judge Wirtz. Judge
Okay.
Wirtz is a supporter of, again, I think she's been engaged or involved at the time where Nashville's actually done some of the lighting and decorating and things like the town of Nashville. I had this conversation with her about the lighting on this. And the initial conversation was, yeah, that's not a problem with her. Obviously, the Board of Commissioners is the one that makes the decision on that, but we always like to, engage with our residents in that. And so I spoke with Matt briefly
Yeah.
about that, and then he did highlight, we're not planning on taking them down. Once I did go back and shared that information with the judge, she was not supportive of that. Because of one, the environment is one, maintenance, and then obviously I know there's cost of taking it up and down, but it is a historic building. And I think if a couple of the other commissioners here have experienced or expressed some concerns with leaving them up ourselves. I guess my question here to you is, would you be willing to take them down at the end of the December season?
Josh, if you can hear that, I am not on the ladder.
Okay.
And so I'm not gonna speak for him, but we can,
probably most likely work that out. I can't do it for every building we're lighting in this community. It's just too much. The work it's daunting. But I'm sure we could work something out with the courthouse. Is that something I need to let you know in order for this to get approved?
Well, again, so I have a follow-on to that. So is it just the roof line that's facing Van Buren, or was the intention to do the entire roof line of the courthouse?
It's the entire roof line of the courthouse.
I wasn't sure. That wasn't the question that I again failed
Sure.
to ask Matt when we talked.
Sure. Well, and that's just because it's the centerpiece of our community and we have a beautiful courthouse. And we want to show that off when people are in town. And it will be, beautifully decorated on the peripheral as well. So, this doesn't make or break the plan, but I sure would love to see that roof line lighted. So, if I can, I'm just waiting to see if I hear from Josh, if we can get the okay from him to take those off the roof. Is that your biggest concern?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, then there's obviously some concern about, I heard you say that there's an indemnification, so I mean, again, county's not gonna be responsible for any of that.
No, and that's exactly what we ask you to sign, is to say, you're okay with this, and we outline who has the responsibility in it, and, we just, wanted to protect ourselves. And Sandy Jones helped me get that going for business owners and building owners.
Do you have any questions, anyone else?
I leave my Christmas lights up all year long, but with that said, I'm an individual and that's a government building. I think if somebody, or when you get done, there's somebody back there, let's just speak.
Yeah. Any more questions besides the same? So thank you.
Bill Moyer, IT department for the county. Obviously Josh isn't here to answer these questions, but I heard you say the word ladder. And yesterday, we had our camera guy here and with a 20-foot extension ladder. He is 6'3". He cannot reach the eaves. I don't know if your guy's gonna have to get a lift to do it or not.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's gonna use a
40-foot ladder.
very tall ladder. So
And
that
it may be scaffolding. I don't know.
things for you guys to consider. And I'm gonna say this because why not try? So he couldn't reach where we needed to put a couple of cameras. And maybe a requirement, if he is going to be up there paying things, see if we could convince him to install a couple cameras for us. As a sweet deal for the county to provide the Christmas lights to be up on the buildings. Just throwing that out
Hey,
there.
Bill, nice try.
Nice.
No, I think it's great.
There. I'm not sure what that happened. Good. Any other comments?
Big comment.
Sure.
Hearing down all the buildings. Basically where Guy Cream Store, Barron's, all the way over to, Cornerstone, then up the block. I got the agreement, and even though I'm very supportive of the Christmas lights, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I'm very supportive of it, but the agreement I got was awful on the indemnification. I don't even know if you folks know, you're considered sponsors of this in the agreement. So I think that has some implied liability with commissioners. And even though I'm in favor of doing this, I think you need to look at this agreement, because I read it, it's a 2 to 3 page document. I'd lined it out so many times that I just got to a point where I got frustrated. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about the Christmas lights. I think it's a wonderful idea, but I'm not signing that agreement. So, I'd love to sit down with somebody an attorney who could walk through me with it, make me more comfortable.
Who's our town attorney?
Wanda Jones, isn't it?
Alan, took a draft and then took it to the point where it is today, so.
It says in the agreement that if I have any Christmas lights on my property, they can be taken down and removed.
Only if you want them to be.
No, the agreement doesn't say that. And then it also says that you, I mean, I can read it to you, but I'm just telling you that there's, I think you catch where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I'd love to work with you, but we need a better, more professional approach to the agreement.
I think Sherry, you had your hand up. You had a comment?
Yeah.
Hi, Barry.
Sherry Mitchell. I don't agree with, Christmas lights on our courthouse, period, in a conversation.
That does not shock me.
Please give us a.
Could I, have the agreement sent to you again for you to look at and for you to make your own determinations where you're uncomfortable? And if it's just a matter of rewording.
Well, if there's any agreement, it would have gone before our attorney anyway. Or we would have had one drafted to do that.
Well, I do know Matt sent you one, that's what I'm saying. Do you have that copy that he sent? Okay.
So Mike hadn't had a chance to look at it yet.
I don't feel that's gonna happen today. We have, I think Mr. Herring had some wise words.
Okay.
Looks like we're missing something probably in the contract. And you can actually blame me, Sherry, for, when I heard Christmas lights, I said, take that out. I said, if you're gonna do it, put holiday lights in there. I mean, that pretty well opens it up for whatever you believe.
I didn't realize that was the issue.
Well,
We just,
it's not holiday lights I don't see as the issue. But if you would have been, and I'm a believer and all that, but
no, I don't want to get into that. That's not what that was intended to mean.
that's how it come out. Though.
Okay, well, if you need to change it to holiday.
It is
that
holiday.
is-
It is all.
Okay.
It's-
Okay, so I'm gonna make a recommendation, that you all take a look at that agreement at your convenience. Make notes where you're not comfortable. We're gonna bypass you this year. And maybe we bring the courthouse into phase 2, year 2, because, I know Josh is having to get this finished and we were hoping to do it before our October crowds gathered, but, unfortunately, it's taken a little longer to get the agreement signed. So, can we table this till phase 2 and that would be next year? And I will work with you on getting an agreement that,
I don't think we can table something for that long, but we can bring it and petition us back again.
Yeah, I don't believe you have the authority to table or anything.
I didn't mean to
No.
assume that. I'm not assuming that. I'm just saying, I would like to recommend we bypass you this year. Can we revisit this in year 2?
I don't think there's, yeah, procedurally.
We don't have it procedurally.
Yeah, we have to, we can
So
just take
we can
it.
just come back and work with you on the agreement.
And I will get that in. So we
Okay.
can at
That's
least
perfect.
have it identified.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just another comment. Just one part of the agreement says that I'm going to provide electrical capacity to light these at my expense. That's fine. But I don't have as landlord, all of my tenants are metered separately. So I don't have the right to tell my tenant that he has to pay to have these lights installed on his meter or his or her meter. So I think there's just some basic misunderstanding in how the document was drafted that
Sure.
I don't have the power to say that. And then there's also parts of the language that says that, interference of business. Well, you need my tenants to say that, I understand that I own the building, but I have 70-page leases with all these people that guard our relationship. And I have certain powers of landlord and certain powers that I don't.
Sure.
And I can't make these decisions for the tenants, nor should I. Well, I just think that it's something I think that needed to be discussed before these agreements went out, that these issues could arise.
I totally agree. And this was an idea and a vision and it took off. And sometimes, things go at a quicker pace than you expected. So Barry, I would love the opportunity to have a sidebar conversation and get your comments and
Yeah, please don't take any of my comments like I don't want this to happen.
no, I don't at all. I appreciate your sense of responsibility and stewardship. So, let's have a side conversation and maybe you're part of your too.
Hey, Barry, give me your phone number so I can use you for a sounding bar. And that's Bob, isn't it?
I think you've got it.
It's Bob, ain't it? All right.
Yeah.
When Parsons County resident. All these lights, not even anything else, lights as big as the tip of this pen. 40 feet in the air, you got better eyes than I got.
But they're LED, they're brighter. Are they brighter?
The comment was when they're off, leaving them on, leaving them installed. If they're left installed,
You're saying we won't see them?
I'm saying your eyes are better than mine if you do.
I doubt that my eyes are.
I'm not here to argue with you, I'm just saying, a light that big 40 feet away, you're not gonna tell me, then, whatever, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, closes that particular issue. All right, next on the agenda, Music Center follow-up, market valuation, excess revenue distribution, governance. Ron brought this up, it was the last meeting. Okay, on the motion to sell it, we said we look into it. Contacted Mike Moga at Barnes and Thornburg, linked us up with a firm, AMC Global. Now they've been merged with Legend, so it's Legend Global. One of the largest companies that do sports and entertainment venues. They do feasibility studies, operation reviews, funding, marketing, management, sales, little bit of everything. And we asked about, explain our situation, and asked for advice and had different questions. The takeaways, that I had when I talked to them a few times, and then, yeah. One, they said it was kind of unique. He said, one, there's not a really commercial market for that kind of venue in our particular market. He said typically and then the type of venue that you select also has a constraint on the types of acts you can attract. So when you have a theater like ours, fine, that attracts some, but then some artists won't bother, don't want to perform in that kind of venue. So there's constraints coming up with that. And they had other things kind of interesting. They said typically on these kinds of things, they're not really profit-based. Generally, they're supported by a community, by county subsidy, and ours is, it's collaterals, revenue from the innkeeper stacks. So that's a subsidy of revenue stream for that particular venue. And also, we have a lot of volunteers. I think, Dana, we talked and we have a lot of volunteers, and they said that's pretty typical for those kind of venues that's supported within the community. And so the focus on the venue, as we talked about, is really to promote tourism was the whole point. And I think it's done that and attracted folks. Let me get back. I think I went through the list. Yeah, the big thing is they said on sales, again, there's not a whole lot of market demand for that kind of thing, and then it's questionable. But they said really you're looking at a sales price of anywhere from 5 to 10 times profit or earnings. And so if you look at that and you subtract any kind of subsidy to that, you subtract labor hours for volunteers. Let's just say revenue, excess revenue or profits from the music center generates 400,000 this year. Well, 10 times, if you look at the estimate buyer of 400,000 be 4 million. So I think it's been assessed recently at 11 million. I think we borrowed 12.5 million and it's probably got that down a little bit. So it's not a feasible option to consider selling it. So now the question becomes, if you accept that particular one, now what? So let's look at the governance of this thing, and the issue and the motivation. Ron, you brought up, on the sale, and then you put that, that's one of the campaign strategies. So let me give you a little background on that one. When this first was proposed, and Barry's like deja vu. I think we were at your hotel, and you invited the RDC. And I was a member of the RDC at the time, and initially we were looking at how do you fund it, and we thought, well, okay, let's think about the bond and a remonstrance. At that point, what the RDC did is we identified a series of meetings that we'd have with the public, because if the public can remonstrate against something, of course, you got to make the sale. So that's what we were prepared to do is the RDC. It would have been a community-wide, government-wide, you name it, input on that particular item. Then it was discovered that we could use the collateral from the revenue from the innkeeper's tax as collateral for the loan. And so that was the option that we went with. At that point, the county officials kind of took a back seat. They were supportive. The project was led by the tourism ministry, the hotel owners. Barry, you were probably the big
Can I
lead.
come to the podium and can we talk about this?
Yeah.
As you're making your point, because I can
Let-
add some of the things that you've said already.
Yeah, let him finish before you
That's
chime
fine,
in.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we can have the back and forth, but let me roll up. I got a few more points. So the county elected officials, they said there'd be plenty of public meetings for the community. There were, I think, Bear, I think you had several presentations for the community. There were no meetings, that I'm aware of that the county council or the commissioners had until the meeting to vote. And I think, if I recall it, well, it's a meeting to vote. And I went to all of those particular meetings. And then I think the commissioners didn't have a problem. They approved it right away. When it went to the council, Dave Chrysler, raised the issue, posted it, said, hey, everybody's got 30 seconds to say if you like it or you don't like it. And he was kind of joking because you could have spent more than 30 seconds. So people stood up and said, I'm for it or against it. I made the comment, I'm not for or against it. I just requested that they do a feasibility study on behalf of the taxpayers, to provide a little independent, objective review on behalf of the taxpayers. They said, no, it wasn't an option. Dave said, worst case, if we ever had an economic problem, we'd end up selling it. Well, that's not gonna happen. That was Dave's thing. Lo and behold, we get COVID. That was our economic, challenge. During COVID, I think at the point, Barry, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think we loaned 150,000 of the motor vehicle highway fund to that. And then county provided 239,000. And then the federal taxpayers on grants provided another $2.7 million. And
That
so,
was all paid back, but
pardon me?
the 150 was all paid back.
It was and then of course you get the, money from the county, 239,000. That was to cover rent and other expenses.
Went to the county that somebody would have gotten.
It was an opportunity cost. And so part of that, so I'll stop there. I've got the next part is going to be on the admin agreement and governance, but
That's fine.
you stop me there.
Only thing I'd like to say is the reason why we went with basically school financing instead of bond financing, because I think you all know that bond financing requires the backup and guarantee of the income tax and real estate tax dollars. So we as a community, as a board, decided that was something we wanted to put on the general public, that their taxes could be increased, which is why we went to the route that we did. And I think that was a valid point. So basically, we went out and found a way to finance the venue that once it was funded the next year, the county's credit rating went up because of the unique way we put the financing on it. You figure, even in today's dollars, at a $550,000 annual mortgage, if that venue completely shut down, your innkeeper's tax right now is probably at the 1.4 million. That's without the 8% increase. So you could still have $900,000 of innkeeper's tax available to marketing or whatever. Just have that building sit there and collect dust. And I just think that it was we have a 3.5% interest rate, which in today's market is like 6 3/4. If you went to finance that today, the debt service would be $975,000. Back when I financed it, the debt service is $550. You figure there's a $425,000 difference that if you went to sell it today, there's a $425,000 more expense to a buyer to buy this unit than it would have been back when we did it 9 years ago. The other thing you mentioned too, volunteers, a not-for-profit is the benefit of volunteer labor at no cost other than t-shirts and things. Well, if we took 100 volunteers, which we have, at 10 hours a week, 52 weeks, or $15 an hour, that's $780,000 a year. There's no way the private market can afford this. The person that you would market this to is me. You know, I'd be the guy, you're like, I'm a real estate investor. And I look at this going, I'm gonna spend $12.5 million to lose $1.2 million a year. It makes no financial sense. The other thing I just want to say too is we're making $300,000 a year profit right now. If you take that $300,000 at a basic CPI increase, you know, over the next 30 years, you're gonna make $18 million on this property. Just like taking 300,000 times 1.03, but because then at the end of 2049, you're not gonna have a mortgage. So your profit's gonna go up by $550,000. In 2049, the county or the music center, you're gonna hit $1,250,000 a year. And why you would even consider selling it, have that opportunity of bringing that in every year. And anyway, I just wanted to say that it flies in the face of common sense to sell this. And I say that because I'm the guy that would be impacted. So, sorry, I didn't mean to take your time. I just wanted the numbers out there. You know, forgetting the fact that there's a 6% sales commission. We also, at any point in time, have about $1.5 billion set aside in ticket money revenue to be collected. The show hasn't played off yet. So at closing, we'd have to give that $1.5 billion to the buyer. Because in this, we've taken that ticket revenue, the show hasn't played off yet. So at the closing table, you're gonna have to give them $1.5 billion to the buyer. You know, it's just like your real estate tax. So but right now, we're writing $65,000 a year in pilot payment of taxes. Again, we don't have to. That's a voluntary payment. There's nowhere in any loan document or every admin agreement anywhere that mentions the word pilot. We just felt that when we built that property, that land was taxed at $200 a year. West County was getting. Once we built it and opened it, now you're getting $65,000 a year because the music center voluntarily is writing that check as payment in lieu of taxes. When I say the music center is making $300,000 a year, that's absorbing that $65,000 pay. So basically, the music center is making $365,000 a year. And I've looked at the admin agreement because Commissioner Clark, I heard at the last meeting that you mentioned that you may want to consider replacing the board. And I looked at the admin agreement, and the only way that the board can hire a management company is if the current management company approves that. It's in the admin agreement. I'd be happy to, I brought it with me. Happy to bring it up and show you. So the only people that can fire us is you'd have to have every signator on the admin agreement agree to end it. And the way it's written right now, if we as a management company want to replace ourselves with an outside management firm, we can do that. I don't think we will, because I think, Gould, Jim Schultz and I built that. We supervised all the construction, we did all the draw requests, we know every direct piece of mortar in that building. I know every dollar that goes in and out of there. I financed $500 million worth of commercial real estate in my career. You're not going to find a management company that has the talent to replace this board. And anyway, just my 2 minutes. So I'd love to talk to you about the admin. I helped draft.
Let me kind of clear the air here a little bit.
Yep.
This is all my fault.
That's fine, Ron.
Okay.
I think you're a great guy. We disagree on this, but
Yeah. Well,
and I understand, but
when I run for office,
yeah.
I looked at it, I'm seeing 12.5 million spent. Now, see, I kind of missed a little trick though.
Yeah.
You're a smart man. You're very smart. I have respect for you there. But I was looking at it as if it was in the real world, this thing is totally different. It's structured different. It's totally different. I was looking at a 10 to 20% profit. I'm thinking, hey, this would really help. We put it on the tax roll at about 150,000 a year, you know? The people that were donating their labor for free, it would create local income tax. You know, that's how I was kind of looking at it. And to be honest, you have probably ended my political career.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't-
Hey, it's all good, Barry. It's all good. I still have respect for you. But if you look at, you said we're paying about 550,000
That's
for
annual.
mortgage payments. Well, you can give us 55,000 in lieu of property taxes. But
65.
I believe, I think it just approved that in the claims. It was 55,000 for the mortgage payment. And that the mortgage payment, that would be like 660,000 a year, not 550, unless we're not paying 2 months or something.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Well, I think it's that's fine. That's fine. I don't always get everything either, Barry. But watching all this and, you know, I don't think a lot of people quite grasp it either in the beginning.
It's complicated.
Yeah, and I always said the sell of it would be complicated, that we have very smart attorneys. And I don't see how it's not viable to sell it unless we try to sell it. But I don't have the backing to do that. No, either one of the commissioners will do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I'm just trying to save you a lot of effort.
well, you're right. You're, like I
You
said,
have every right to go out and try and sell.
it's not gonna happen because I can't get a board member to vote. And then it's got to go to the county council. And then it would have to have at least 4 members there to vote to sell it. And then we'd have to go through that process. And now, since we've been enlightened, it's a reason why it was even built in the first place. And I believe the music center has probably been good for Nashville. Okay,
80,000 people a year coming to
Yeah.
the show, which is what our ticket sales are. And there's a $1 ticket tax, there's $80,000 a year that's sitting in the county coffers for every ticket that's sold, and every year we're selling 80,000 tickets beyond all the other members.
it's put heads in beds,
Exactly.
people in the restaurants, people in the shops, you know, all that. But now we've moved on to the next issue. And it was the first time I come to your meeting. Now we're looking at, we would really like to have 100% of the revenue.
I think that's something that is gray in the documents that I think we could talk about.
Yeah.
There is a language of the admin agreement, and I'll be the first one to throw it out there. There's a word, there's a difference between will and shall. And, or may, I can't remember what it was. May, thank you.
May.
And it comes to the point where it was a 75-25 split to the community foundation, which left a gray area that you could say, hey, who gets what?
What word was used?
May. Yeah, no, I'm saying, you could drive a truck, may and shall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
Now, if it said must,
Yeah.
it would have been different.
Well, it is a management rule. It's easier for us because it tells us what to do. There's no ambiguity. I'd much rather the document tell us what to do, because I don't want to make that. I don't think the board wants to make that decision. I will tell you that the spirit of the agreement is we're supposed to go 75-25. We thought the dollars could get back to the community quicker from the community foundation. It could be going in offers. And I mean, just tell you, that was the intent. Not that the board say that was the.
Yeah, I think it's come down to, we don't have a say on your board, not really. I mean, I come there and I made a motion to the county get 100% and got blowed out of the room. That we still want 100%.
There's a difference because you're negotiating.
No, we still want 100%.
Came in and said 50%. Well, there's on that board that I didn't talk to you about. But to come in and just say, hey, I want it all or nothing, well, that's, I'm just saying, it's just a way that the cards were played, maybe, because.
Yeah, well, I'm like a house wrecker, whatever, demolition man or whatever, So I kind of think these is where the issues are now. We would like to have the 100%, and we would like to have at least so many elected officials on the board. I do believe that you added a couple of members to the board. There was like 5 board members, and now there's 7.
Now, like, I think the CDC gets 2, I think you get 1, obviously, I think the county council gets 1,
Yep.
that's Aaron right now.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 at large, I'm at large now. CBB, thank you. CBB gets the other, so that's how, and you have influence on who you appointed to the CBC. Because again, CBC has 2. So it's,
At this point, I think I will move it back to Mr. Clark
okay,
because he definitely dots his i's and he crosses his t's. And so we'll look and see what he has. to say.
Okay.
And I hope I didn't muck it up too bad.
No, I appreciate the exchange. I guess my next points, as we go through that. Think about it. We had to start up at the Music Center. I think it's been successful. Had the surprise with COVID, got over it. Got over the hump and.
COVID was to our benefit. We filed for that federal funding. We got about $2 million on that, which fully funded our capital reserve account. So we started distributing profits in 5 years. We didn't expect to distribute profits till 10. So I hate to say it, that's a horrible thing to say that COVID helped us, but financially COVID helped us because of that federal funding. That actually quantified and filled that $1 million. We have within the admin agreement, the first $1 million of profits went to shore up the capital improvement fund. So an air conditioning unit or parking lot couldn't get us to a point we had to come back to counties saying, hey, we don't have enough money to repair our air conditioning. So we have to set $1 million aside to protect the county, the guarantor, that any capital improvement coming up, we have $1 million buffer to pay that. And it was fully funded when we got that savior stage.
Let me readdress. Ron brought up started off on the articles of incorporation. You had 5 members, 2 elected, so it's 3-2. Then you went to 7. I think Ron's point was replace 2 with 2 council persons, and that gives 4 elected officials out of the 7. Difference is this is a music center, it's a county asset. I don't think selling is going to be a likely option. It just the numbers aren't there, and that's supported by the consultant we reach out to. So the numbers aren't there for selling. So now it's like, now what? And at this point, it's a county asset. The revenue from the innkeeper's tax is a county asset. But the decisions, when you looked at the management agreement, we had the 75-25. That was made by unelected officials. And the point is, if you have elected officials as a majority on that board, then they are accountable for that particular venue. So if we have some kind of economic crisis, and we're going to have one, just don't know when, don't know how bad it'll be. Yeah, it's like, okay, now what? I mean, that falls back on the commissioners. We're not going to sell the thing. I think Dave is just kind of throwing it out there, returned back. We're not doing that. Bank doesn't want it. They've got that collateral they're going to receive anyway. So at this point on this thing about this, a transition, it's like, okay, it's a county asset. Elected officials don't have a majority say on the risk, how much we bank for any kind of reserve fund, the distribution that wasn't elected officials. So that's the issue. So I'd say one is the makeup of the management board is an issue. I think to have the option is for elected officials to say, do we want to be accountable for the risks associated with this particular venue? Because if it does head south, we're going to have to find ways of supporting that. And elected officials ought to be accountable, and they're accountable to the voters, not appointed officials. And then again, you've got the risk, what that reserve fund may be. So that's like the admin agreement kind of thing. It's like, okay, the board and the distribution. And the distribution, I understand at the time, is a little different. The times were a little different. And I think the perception by many, well, I won't go into perceptions. But at this point, different characters on the council and the commissioners. When we look at that distribution, Ron talked about 100%. We just got an rough estimate yesterday, $14 million that likely expenses for bridges over the long term. Not counting, we just started the capital improvement plan and budget to identify what our infrastructure costs are for our building and maintenance and repairs and that kind of thing. And that would be several $100,000 as well. So when you look at where should that distribution, the revenue come from, it's like, well, where's it going to go? You put it in a rainy day fund, you build that up. We fund capital improvements out of that particular fund. We don't have to issue a bond and we don't have to raise taxes for people who pay for the bond. So if we take that, the revenue, manage that revenue as a county resource, that's one option of where it could go, is in that capital improvement fund and prevent any need for keep these recurring loans that we had to pay. And again, the taxpayers, that adds to the property tax bill. So that's one particular option. And again, it's like, what do we do with that? So that's a concern for us. Again, the risk, it's like, okay, do we have, is that reserve in there, and are the elected officials, can they account for the worst case scenario when it comes to that? And again, it gets back to me, how much accountability do the elected officials want to have on this thing? So I guess I'd summarize, is I've got on the agenda for the council,
October?
Yeah.
No, November. No, it's November now, I believe.
I'll introduce some of the ideas we talked about here, and then I'm on their agenda for the next council meeting. We could schedule further public meetings to get public input on, on a transition. What do we want? Do we want that majority of elected officials on there? Do we want to have a strategy for what we want to do with the excess revenue? And the other issue is not only the excess revenue, but how do you determine that profit? And it's interesting when I talk to the AMC Global, it's interesting. If you're going to optimize for profit, you're just going to take those venues that are going to bring in the most profit. Or you use the profitable venues to support the acts that may not be profitable, but with the idea of getting as many paying customers in the county that you can that would frequent hotels and restaurants and bars and that kind of thing. So when you look at profit projections and where the excess revenue will go and where we want to put that and how we want to fund the different infrastructure costs coming in the county, that's all the kind of discussions that we would tee up at public meetings. So the first stop is the council and get their read on this, and then we'll just open up a series of public meetings and ask people what they think. Which way do we want to go? Is it don't do anything, change the way we don't do anything, keep the status quo, make minor changes as management agreement, or think a different kind of a structure?
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yes.
the only way to change the management agreement, then the admin agreement, takes 100% approval of management group, the existing management group, the commissioners, the CDC, and the building.
Okay,
It's not a unilateral decision you as a commissioner can make.
I understand.
For the council, has to be, everybody has to get in a room and shake hands. I'm not saying it's not possible, just saying that's what has to happen. So I think if you're gonna have these public hearings, you need to have all of the participants who are required to amend this agreement be present, because without the buy-in, one group, like the building corporation is 3 people. But I'm not taking on them, it's just because they're the smallest board of all of us. They would do the whole thing. Not that they wouldn't, again, this is hypothetical. This isn't, saying is that you may do a wonderful job in setting your point, and you might get the community buy-in, then when you go to amend the admin agreement and get stopped. Just think, you gotta, if you're gonna do this, and I'm not saying do it or don't do it, it's your prerogative. People elected you for a reason, but you have to know what it takes to get this changed. Just make sure, please, that you have the buy-in of everybody who's a decision maker, but you need a unanimous vote. So.
With the existing agreement, I agree with you, Barry.
Exactly, so I'm just.
With the existing agreement,
Just
I
asking,
understand that.
the management group needs to be involved in these conversations, because obviously several of us are gonna get displaced. If you do this, and you might be losing some really good minds with that displacement. I don't disagree with you about elected officials, we aren't. But we bring things to the table. I've had life experiences that probably you haven't. You have exactly the same. I think my financing acumen brings something to the table. I think Jim's acumen of their construction brings something to the table. I just think that, I think it's a two-edged sword. You could end up having more public involvement in the board, but that board be limited in knowing how to run a music venue. And I don't know, it's something to think about, but I think, I don't disagree with you, but I disagree with you.
Barry, I haven't heard anything but positive about the way the staff that runs the music center,
Oh,
the Christian
they're-
staff. I've never heard anything. So I don't, No, I haven't heard anything, nothing but positive on the professionalism and success they've had managing that venue. So that's not a particular issue. It's the management group and the makeup and the decisions that are made and the influence or not that elected officials have versus non-elected officials. And the other option too is a new agreement. Talked to Barnes and Thornburg. We looked at that particular option. Wouldn't want to go there, but that's an option as well.
But one other person, the lender would obviously.
There too. And so if you have a net change on financial agreements, which I wouldn't anticipate any change on current contracts or current financial agreements. So the commissioners, and I'd like to have the council's support as well. If it comes with finance related issues, they have a say in it. Commissioners also have a say on agreement. We are responsible for contracts. So we could have a new contract, modify the existing one, have a new contract. But really, the decision there is that's why it's out to the community. I think the first stop, I agree with you. We'll talk to the current group, and then we'll keep raising it and having those public meetings, so letting people weigh in. It's their asset. It's a county asset, and they should have a say on the future of it. And it could be, hey, we're going to keep things same, fine. But we need to have those conversations and have that debate. I loved your counter to why we don't want to sell it, and that supports AMC Global, and that didn't seem like a feasible alternative. But again, and that's the problem, and you raise an important point. When you start raising these particular issues, yes, you do have, I wouldn't anticipate anytime you want to change status quo, there's always fierce resistance to the way we've always done it in people's comfort zones, and maybe some of these changes wouldn't be well received according to the distribution of where that funds should go. Say, hey, we are, that's fine, that'll happen, but that's part of the process. When we did this in the beginning, as you're well aware, the only public meeting we had was scheduled by the League of Women Voters, and they pulled it at the last minute because the anticipation that there would be conflict at that meeting.
Well, I see, again,
I'm talking
the attorney told us what meetings to go to. Your counsel told us what meetings to go to and what meetings not to go to.
Barry, I'm not faulting you guys at all. I mean, you got handed the situation and managed it expertly. I have no qualms on that one. My qualm is with the elected officials on delegating responsibility. That just, I can see delegating accountability, but not responsibility. Elected officials have a responsibility to the voters. And so when you have an asset, there should be accountability.
I just didn't think there was any shenanigans.
No, not at all, Barry. I thought it was, I thought what you've done is, I thought it was brief the way you had a vacuum to fill and you filled it and plugged the holes. Barnes and Thornburg were involved in this process. I have no qualms on how it was done, the ethics of it, the legality of it. I have no qualms on that. The issue is what's the responsibility of elected officials in something like this? Is it elected versus appointed? That's the issue. And that's, again, that's why you tee that up and ask people what they think. And it could be the consensus was, don't do it, leave it the way it is. That's fine. But they at least have a voice. It's their asset. And it's their asset, not only the building, but the revenue leakage tax is a county asset as well. So that's it. Yeah.
Greg Jagan. After 9 years, are we kind of like, why are we still talking about this? When these gentlemen have done a great job, we have enough county officials on the board. I don't know that I trust any more county officials on that board. I think that the money that they're doing, yes, a gentleman's agreement, I'm sure you could go like Barry says. Maybe we can give more money to the county, but not 100%. That's, I know, Ron, you never liked that at all. And that's why you thought you got elected, but that wasn't why you got elected.
Why did you get elected?
Mistake.
Please tell me.
We have spent 45 minutes, wasted time, when you guys have other things you ought to be doing. How many hours have you spent with attorneys trying to do what you're trying to do? I don't get this. They have done a great job. I have met people from Louisville, from Ohio, who said, this is a great venue. Yesterday, before I had my surgery, the lady said, oh, I love going over there because I volunteer. From Wilmington, I love that place. Why did we want to just put, this is ridiculous, spending county time on this. They have done a great job. I don't get it. How many hours are we going to keep spending? We got another meeting next week. We got more meetings. Why? Why? This is ridiculous. Oh, by the way, we need to bring, why don't we do prayer before our meetings anymore? We need to bring that back in. And they should be called Christmas lights. Thank you.
You're entitled to your opinion, sir.
Assume I'm here wearing the hat for Chair of the County Foundation.
Name?
Which is, oh, John Elliott, sorry. And that is true. I also moved to this county 5 years ago from Noblesville, which has far more negative than positive experience from the citizen perspective of what is now Ruoff, that went from small local venue to out of town, not connected to the community. Drives the sheriff crazy. It's changed the ratio in terms of what happens with visitors and who the visitors are. It is an entirely different place in terms of the impact now versus where it started. So when you have these, you do your due diligence and you prep for these conversations, and Barry's right, there are a lot of those. I would encourage you to look at what has happened and what has changed in other communities. Because I wouldn't bring encouraging news from my former hometown. The other thing I would say is I have this eclectic career of having been part of federal government, state, large companies, more than 24 nonprofits. I have seen and helped build and rebuild leadership teams. And to get successful outcomes, you need to carefully construct the right leadership team that is equipped and has the knowledge and the skill sets to get the successful outcomes. I hear you about wanting more county voice, the power and control that comes with majority county voices at the table. But that ignores a very impressive record of success that is more rare than I think you realize in terms of this music center versus other venues. We should be celebrating that success and applauding the leadership that has brought us there earlier than about any comparison you can try. And not saying, let's destroy the successful leadership team that is constructed to have the right subject matter expertise for continued success decades into the future. It makes no sense to fix what's not broken. Now, obviously, the foundation will work with anything from zero to the current arrangement that comes in, but we also feel we're the voice for 100+ nonprofits. We're also incredibly impressive in what they do with a dollar. And I would just say, biased as I am, that the impact of those charity dollars that are coming through the foundation, we are temporary custodians and they're going out to meet the most urgent needs of this county. Versus, I couldn't even add up all the numbers when you say 14 million and 10 million and you add all this up. What percent is $100,000 or so a year that would help these charities of your 14 million plus gap? I think you're focused disproportionately on the 0.1% of your budgetary challenge and not the 99% that's really going to solve the problem for taxpayers. I would take questions. I applaud, Tim, your desire to have the public hearings, and certainly we will turn out. We'll come prepared if there's particular information you need that we can help with. We want to be constructive in the process. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Dan Patrick. I live here in town, and I think I've told you all many times, I've been involved with the music center since the very beginning. I was on the board for a year during the construction, and I also volunteer out there. And so I just want to bring it down a little bit here to a different level. Before you start making changes in the arrangement of the board, one of the things I would like for the three of you to do is come see the music center. And not necessarily even when there's a show going on. Jim, I don't think you've been there, and I don't know that I've been there. Kevin, I don't know about you. But I think there is so much for you to see, even when we don't have a show in process. We have nearly 300 volunteers. They do not all come from Brown County. They come from Bartholomew, Monroe, We have people come up from Seymour. We have a lady drive down here from Danville all the time from us. So one of the reasons we have a profit, as we discussed, is because we have volunteers, we're not paying event staff. And I would encourage you to come watch a load in, watch that staff that's back there do that. Watch them load out at the end of the night. Watch our volunteer parking people get people in safely, get them out safely. I would encourage you to watch the volunteers in the lobby, get those tickets scanned, get the people in, come into that theater and watch us get those people to their seats safely. Watch us help memories be made every single time there's a show. I know, Tim, you'd like to see a different board made up with more accountability at the elected level, and maybe that's a good idea. I don't know, but I would like for you to come out and see it through the eyes of those of us who are there frequently. And I would like for you to come out and meet people like Christian Webb and meet Jeff Overby, people who are there who care. They care about bringing in the good acts. They care about the volunteers and making sure that we have a good volunteer team. So I'm just speaking from the volunteer right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I just responded. We're not making any changes and we're not making any changes at all. We identified, hey, here's the current arrangement. Here's an option, here's an option. And so the point is to reach out and ask the community what they want. It's their asset. It's their asset. So get that voice and then go from there. But you know, there's a lot of pros. We haven't heard from everybody in the county like to do that and come up with the best solution for the county. And that could be, don't do anything. So again, the point is to have those conversations, have that input. We're not making any changes. You'll have options and people will have different preferences. That's all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have you all had complaints from the county about the music center? I really doubt that, except for maybe mine, but who's complaining? If you don't know your county by now, after it's been built by 9 years, you surely would have had bunches of complaints. You don't need public meetings to figure out, we want this the way it is. This is ridiculous, gentlemen.
Very simple panel that have already been made. If it's not broken, why the heck do you want to try to fix something that isn't broken? This has been the most brilliant process from inception to implementation to the continuation of it that I have ever known of in Brown County. And until our public, local elected officials can demonstrate brilliance in management, I think you have no business messing around with the brilliance of the management that has already been in place. So, Ron, you're the appointment from the commissioners to the board, the management board. To my knowledge, you've been to one meeting.
Correct.
So how does that reflect the involvement of the local public elected officials? I'm just saying, if it's not broken, keep your hands off of it until you can demonstrate to the public that you can run the county brilliantly.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, Pam.
You say you had an evaluation?
AMC, well, not valuation, feedback, AMC Global, now they're Legend Global. AMC Global, you can look them up on the internet.
I mean, do they do real estate evaluations? Is that what they do?
They do entertainment and sports venues.
Thank-
Okay. All right, moving on. Folks, this next part is going to be contractual services, so we've got quite a few. First one, Kevin, courthouse, interest room flooding.
Yeah. So one of the issues that's been repeated twice this year is there's been water entering into this security area, into the courthouse entrance. That issue is typically been happening at large rain events. So we actually had Charlie Days from DLZ donate his time to come back and actually look at the video that was captured, I think by the judge, and I don't know if one of those, but in the analysis, and then walk through with Dan Cartwright on that issue, and we've identified a solution. And there we received 3 proposals for that. And the cheapest one at this point has been identified for,
Dynamic concrete.
yeah. Dynamic concrete for $1,500. So my recommendation is to move forward with that proposal and the attached contract to this that's been reviewed by Mike Moga for approval, so we can get this implemented.
You made a motion, you said a recommendation, but it's a motion, right?
And I'm making a recommendation to accept that proposal and the contract that we've created for dynamic concrete.
That's fine.
$1,500.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Tim?
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
The next item is dealing with some obstruction related to trees along the courthouse building. The courthouse itself has 2 maple trees on the west side of it. One of them is not impacting the building, but the second one is. It's impacting the roof line and causing issues with regards to drainage and the guttering system there. The recommendation would become to remove that tree, grind the stump, because it's also impacting the concrete sidewalk next to it. And then in addition to that, also have the second maple tree that's north of it trimmed so that it can stop growing into the offset that's there. So the 3 quotes that were prepared were 3,100, 5,000, and 6,110. The lowest one coming from Robertson's Tree Service here in the county. So my recommendation is that we should proceed forward with that work. There is a proposal and a contract that we can sign to move this work forward.
That's fine. I'll second it.
Roll call.
Kevin,
Yes.
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Next one is agenda is the milestone. So last meeting, we had a situation where we had milestone paving contract, and we had signed a contract contingent upon accepting the terms that were there. Those terms were not accepted by them. They came back and made modifications. We looked at those adjustments in the terms and conditions, and then have accepted those, and then we have updated the existing amendment that we have along with their contract to reflect those changes. I'm just putting that change before the board and asking us that we accept and approve those changes. So motion is to approve and sign the contract, the changed contract in terms for milestone.
Second. I'll second.
I'm going to abstain on this one. I would like to get the contracts right from the beginning, if that's possible. I know it's tough, but let's try and get the stuff right first, Trent. I abstain.
Yes.
Yes. Next one is the Browning Day. In the last meeting, we accepted their proposal for the first phase, which is scoping the replacement windows for the courthouse. Their proposal was $4,250. We have since created a contract to reflect that, pulling out the scope of work. So that contract has been created and been reviewed by our attorney. I'm asking or recommending that we proceed forward with signing that contract for scope 1, which is just the phase, as far as just scoping the work to be done. So motion? Yes.
Okay, second.
Second.
Tim,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Ron,
No, with explanation. When we looked at that contract, we had a local engineering architect look at it at 4,000. It's not the $250 that threw me off. It's the second phase. The second phase was 12.5 from that same company. It didn't set well, so my vote's a no.
Okay. So the next one is the NDOT letter. So last meeting, Eric mentioned that there was going to be a road closure from the 30th of March of 2026 until the June 27th of 2026 on Highway 45. The proposed detours along Land Ridge and other areas. That letter actually needs our signature. I did not want to go through and sign that document without having an actual vote occur. So my recommendation is that we accept the NDOT letter with the defined detour with the, so the stated criteria is that they will repair any damages that are incurred on the roads that are being used as the detour.
Quick question to the attorney. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep, there, Mike.
Yep.
Are you comfortable with this agreement with the NDOT?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second. You made the motion, I'll second.
Roll call. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and then I think we don't have any other topics, maybe highway, no, that's the highway, yeah, it's down the, but I'd like to. Here, I'd like to acknowledge Stacy Davis. She's doing a dual act. She's a recent transfer to our office from the clerk's office and agreed to take a position not only on the helping out the commissioners on some details, but also as kind of a floater for the county. People need an additional resource. So I think you call that shared resource. So appreciate you being here and appreciate your effort. And then one of the floater responsibilities to serve as the auditor rep from this particular. So appreciate you stepping up and doing it. So thank you. Highway Department, Kevin, that's back to your letter. Yeah, so basically we know that the highway department has several bridges that have been identified. And we also know that we had a change in the CCMG process where they're not actually having as many cycles in CCMG. So they've actually gone from $1.5 million down to one.
You're talking about community
crossings grants. So we were planning on having the second round of that happen for Bridge 20, which is Hoover and Sweetwater Trail, which you clarified earlier. So there is a letter that needs to be signed stating that we are supportive of that project, and that letter is to be used for opening the bid process for the actual construction work that needs to be done, and also the submission to CCMG for granting. And the existing dollars that have been identified for the construction cost on that is $586,000, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what's being put out to bid, to have them say, this is what we estimate this to be, what is there. So we've had situations where we've had significant differences in what we've estimated it to be. So there's a letter that needs to be signed by the board in order for that to proceed forward. So I'm recommending that.
That's a grant.
Recommending a letter that's needed to go for the bidding process and for the grant.
So they pay 80, we pay 20.
That's federal. In CCMG, it's 75-25.
Okay.
So I'm recommending that we sign that letter so we can allow the grant and the bid process to be moved forward with Bridge 20.
That's fine.
I'm making a motion to approve that letter.
I'll second.
Okay, we'll call.
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
So that's items. All right, the next one is ongoing business.
10 seconds. Catfield.com with the photos for sale. I sent Eric out here. With about 6 hours ago, it's sold. Now I didn't see the final bid. It's almost 11 times.
Okay.
Yes.
Much more than they appraised it at.
Good, thank you. Excellent. Okay. The next one on Pumpkin Ridge Road. I continue to look at the look at the options. I'm in contact with the NDOT, trying to arrange a meeting. I'm in contact with the property owners along Pumpkin Ridge Road. And again, their focus or their goals have a minimal amount of change to that road as possible that NDOT would approve the fund. So, waiting to get a fine sketch and set up a meeting with NDOT. So, no options have been selected. And again, once I have dates or more information on the meeting, I'll certainly inform people. October 15th, you guys see we're having a library board appointment, second reading on these ordinances if it's based on community input, and then approval on the vote center plan. So that's coming up. The last item is public comments. Anyone?
I just want to say the Indiana State Forest normally have their open houses in October. And I've been trying to get them to get them dates for me. And every time I call, I kind of get different dates. I believe that October 30th is the one that includes Mountain Tea. They combine it with Monument Road, Ravine, Yellowwood, and Mountain Tea State Forest. October 30th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is held at the Monument Road office, and the address there is 6220 Forest Road, Martinsville. It's approximately 6 miles south of Martinsville, off State Road 37. There may be people on here today I'm getting rid but maybe they'll drive here, maybe they'll listen. It may give them an opportunity to talk to somebody there, get some ideas on what are some of the plans of future things that maybe they're going to do back there, or talk to them about logging and how frequently logging might occur. Things like, is there any pollution to the water and the lake in the area when they do log? So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, I've been told various things. I call every 2 weeks, and I'm told that the neighbor program that we sent postcards out the first week of October to all state forest area residents. I said, yes, but what does that mean? And I was told notices go out to properties touching the state forest. When I called today, the person I talked to said, no, she didn't think it was October 30th. It might be October 24th, 25th, or 26th. She didn't know. And she said it goes out to a list of people that they have who have signed up to be on the list. I have not seen anything yet on the Indiana State Forest website or on the Indiana Forest Alliance website, but I do want people to be aware they are supposedly going to have their open house sometime in October. I think it's October 30th, and people who live in Mountain Tea or close by may want to go to that open house and get some more information. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure. There's a problem in plain terms. Brown County Health Board and the Health Department fail to act when the law requires them to act, but then turns around and acts when they have no authority to act. They ignore the law that requires septic systems to be decommissioned properly in the state of Indiana, yet at the same time they overstepped and closed a private pond, which they have no authority to do. They went so far as to post a closure sign on this recreational safe private pond. And what did they cite to justify it? Standards written for public bathing beaches on the Great Lakes. Nowhere near Brown County, and certainly never met for our private pond here. That's not just a mistake, that's a flat misuse of law. Now to add to that problem of legal, now let's add to that problem of legal counsel. Both the commissioners and the health department are using the same attorney. This is a conflict of interest, plain and simple. The lawyer advertising the oversight body is also advertising the agency that needs oversight. How can the public ever trust that the accountability is possible under that structure? Commissioners, these aren't accusations, these are facts. A letter from both the office of Tony Elmore, president of the Brown County Health Board, and Dr. Michael Conway, medical director for the Brown County Health Department, confirms that both Elmore and Conway were aware that state-required decommissioning of an abandoned septic system did not occur. They did nothing to correct this defect. They both should be removed from office for failing to enforce state law and for failing to protect public health. The environmental specialist has been in the rules for more than a decade. Posted a closure sign on a state private lawn without statutory authority and misused the state law to justify his improper conduct. All of these public servants acted on their mistakes to set correct. The chain of responsibility is clear. Indiana Code 1621-19 requires local health officers to enforce all health laws. Indiana Code 1621-2 states that local health boards are responsible and subject to the county executive. Indiana Code 1623-3 makes clear that a health board member can be removed by the appointing authority if they fail to perform required statutory duties. So not only can you act, but you are also empowered by the law to act when board members ignore their statutory obligations. That's exactly what has happened here. Brown County Health Department staff and the president of the Brown County Health Board have exceeded their authority. Commissioners, you have both the power and the responsibility to restore faith in local governance, and the public is counting on you to do it. You will find supporting documentation attached to the letter. Thank you.
Hey, Mike. Hey, final comments, Mike. Logan.
Nope, nothing to add.
Okay, motion adjourned.
Jason, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Meeting's closed. Thank you.